Welcome back, guys. It's the Coder's Code here, and in today's video we're back with another episode of the Let's Explore Scratch series. In today's video we're going to be looking at the Costumes tab and the Backdrops tab. They're initially the same thing, and I'll show you guys how you can create your own costumes. We'll also be looking at the bar over here. In the previous video, we looked at the motion category blocks, which are responsible for the movement and the positioning of the sprite. Anyways, let's get started. First, to create a sprite or choose a sprite, you can click on this button and it will take you to the Sprite Library. This is where you can choose any sprite. But what if you want to paint a sprite? Well, hover on that button and you'll see a paint option. Click on that and you have a nice workspace to paint and all the necessary tools. Next we have the surprise option. If you click on that, it's going to choose a random sprite from the Sprite Library. In this case, I got a hare. Next we have the upload sprite, where you can upload sprites. In this case, I want to paint a sprite, so I hover on choose a sprite and click on paint. Let's look at each tool one by one. The first one we have over here is the select tool. You can select whatever you want and it can be used to delete and copy sprites. Next we have copy costumes. Next we have the Reshape tool, which I'll come to when we're done with the rectangle tool. Next we have the Paintbrush tool, using which you can freely draw whatever you want. Cool thing about this is that you can change the fill color to whatever you want. We have three other options, which are the gradient options. Our gradients are basically when two colors mix with each other, but not like it won't blend much. We can still easily identify that there are two colors over here, just like this. This is called gradient. We have three different kinds. I'm going to call this a vertical gradient. This is the horizontal one. And this is the circle one, which means whatever color you put on the left-hand side would be in the center, and then the other color would surround it. I'm going to stick with a nice full color with red, and not a gradient. You can also change the outline of this paintbrush. You can make it whatever you want, and this is you right now. You're trying to put a numerous number of zeros just like this, but when you click on enter, the maximum is 100. So that's something you should know. Another thing is that you don't quite often use this tool, but I have to say this is quite satisfying, really satisfying. Look at this, it's so satisfying. Yes, it is. So you don't use that tool much often. The next tool we have is, also I'm going to set this back to 10. The next tool that we have is the eraser tool. And now you've got excited because you see a fill color option there. But it doesn't really matter because no matter what fill color you have, it's still an eraser and you only get this white one over here. I think they obviously have programmed it to, no matter what the user choose, you still stick with the white color in this one. You can change the outline. Once again, you try putting infinite zeros, it's not going to work because at the end, it's always going to reset to 100. Once again, this is super satisfying. Let's go on to the next one. This is you right now because this was me before when I started Scratch. Hang on there, buddy. It's not a clicker game. Okay, wait. So you must be like this because it's a fill shape tool and you want to fill the whole background. Well, it's not going to work, person, because it's just like that. If you want to fill in the whole background, this is what I'd say. Select the rectangle tool, draw a rectangle or square covering everything over here. The whole, you know what, covering the whole already made square over here. And now you select on the fill tool and fill it in with whatever you want. Now that occupies a lot of time. But how can I just do this in one snap? Once again, you can change the fill color, if I hadn't already said that. So how do I just, when I click on this, it's automatically gonna turn whatever color we want. Well, first step, convert it to bitmap. Now if you click on it, there you go, and convert it back to vector. There's not gonna be much a difference, except when you try clicking on the eraser tool and you do this, it's not gonna work, pal, see? So because when you're actually filling it in, the bitmap will actually consider this as one whole square. So you can reduce the size and you can make it a square. As you can see, they actually used the method that we used before, but in a really simpler manner. Right, next we have the text tool. You can type whatever you want. Next, I typed next. Make it 1x. Another cool thing is you can change the color, like always. Another thing is that you can change the font. Double click on the text and you have a drop down. You have sans serif, serif, handwriting, marker, curly, pixel, some other languages. You must be like, will it translate it to that particular language? Well, it won't. It's just gonna stay English, but in a different font. To be honest, this is my second favorite font. My first favorite is handwriting. I really like that. It's a really nice handwriting, messy at the same time too. You also use pixel when you want to put something like U in for games and all. We actually use this in the rocket shooter and tons of other games. Delete that. Alright, that's the text tool. Next we have the line tool. To draw a perfect line, hold on shift. To draw a messy line, don't hold on shift. Okay, now to delete everything, you can just use the select tool, select everything and click on delete. Once again, you can change the outline but not the fill color because it's a line and it doesn't have fill color. And you also have you have the 3 gradient options. Yes, even outlines have that. I'm gonna make this line. Now hold on shift and I have it here. You can change the thickness. Nice. Right? Okay. So that's it with the line tool. For the circle tool, you can change both the fill color and the outline. Hold on shift to draw a perfect circle. Just like this. I'm gonna make the fill color something like blue, just like this. And you can also change the outline. You can also change the thickness of the outline. Cool, right? Alright, you even have the gradient for all of these 3 shapes. Next we have the rectangle tool. You can hold on shift to draw a perfect square, but it won't draw a rectangle if you hold on shift. But if you first draw a rectangle, then hold on shift, it's still gonna stay as a square. Alright, let's look at the reshape tool now. So I'm gonna draw a nice square. So what if I want this to be a rectangle? I don't have a triangle, not rectangle. If I want this to be a triangle, I don't have a triangle tool on the side. So what do? I select the reshape tool and I reshape it like this. So we can conclude that the reshape tool is used to shape and mold objects of our choice. For example, there's no shape like cat ears like this, right? So the Scratch team probably drew a nice circle filled with orange, and then they selected the reshape tool. They molded it, made it kind of curved in the side, used some cat ears like this, just like this, made it pointy. So that is a really cool tool that the Scratch team has embedded, the reshape tool. Alright, that's it with all of the tools that we can use to create our own costume. Let's look at this now. To choose a costume, we'll start with this one. To choose a costume, you click on this button, and instead of seeing sprite, you'll see costume. For example, if you type in cat, you're gonna see 2 cats. The first one is cat A and the second one is cat B. This is because these are costumes and they're not sprites. If you see a sprite, then both of these costumes will be clubbed into one. So that's the difference. So Abby A, B, and C and D will be clubbed into one. Andy A, B, and C and D. Andy A, B, C, and D will be clubbed into one. And Nina Pop, all of these costumes still here will be clubbed into one. Balls will be clubbed, etc. moving forward. So that's the costumes. Once again, you can paint costumes, you can choose a surprise costume, and you can upload a costume. Right, so the first tool, let's first draw some of this. So suppose I want to redo something, so I click on this. If I want to undo something, I click on this. If I want to redo something, I click on this. It's nearly there in every single app. Next, if I want to, like if I select one of this, it's considered as an individual part of this sprite, right? Part of this costume, right? So suppose if I want to take these two, group them together and consider them as one sprite. Select the select tool, select both of them, click on group. So now if I click on one shape, it'll be considered as a group. To ungroup them and make them individual sprites again, I click on ungroup. Now they're back to individual sprites. Sorry, individual parts of the costume. Now this is what I'm gonna do. Fill it in with this color. I'll keep one there. Fill this with red. Outline, something like this. Orange, I'm gonna put this. Actually, yellow is good. Now I'm going to make this red. All right. So now we have 4 shapes. So you'll see that each shape is forming a layer. So right now, if you look at this, this is the backmost layer. This shape has formed the backmost layer. Followed by this shape, the blue one, then followed by the yellow one, and the top one is the red. So the point is that this will be behind all 3 of these. This will be in front of the green one, but in front of these 2. I mean, it'll be in front of the green one, but it'll be behind this red and the yellow one. The yellow one will be in front of the blue and the green shape, but behind the red shape. And the red one is in front of all of these. So they're each forming a layer. Suppose I want this to go all the way to the front, so I click on this front one. As you can see, it's the front. To make it go all the way towards the back, I click on back. You can do it with the blue one as well. Go to those front. So it'll go in front of everything. Now I want this to go in front of the green shape only. So what I do is, if I put this back to in front of the green shape, it's going to be in the 3rd layer. So I type this twice. 1, 2. So as you can see, now it's in front of the green one, but in behind these 2. Same thing if I want this to go behind the yellow one, but not behind the blue one, I just click backward by 1. To make it go back again by 1, I click on forward. We'll be explaining more in detail once we reach the looks category, which will probably be in the next video. No promises. Okay, next, suppose I want, let's make many of these, okay. If I want to copy this and put this into the next costume, I basically select the whole thing, select copy, go to the next one, and paste. I can even copy something from one sprite to another sprite, so it's still gonna be there. So to delete it, select that particular sprite you would like to delete and select delete. Now if I once again paste this cat sprite, so suppose I want it to be facing towards the left, I click on flip horizontal. If I want it to be facing, let me just put it back. Yeah, if I want it to be, its legs to be on top, I click on flip vertical, like that. So that's why I use flip horizontal and flip vertical. Okay, so let's look at this bar right now. So we can first name the sprite to whatever we want. I can just name it to plain cat or cat B. I can change the x and y position, maybe x to -180, and I'll make y 0. Then I can either show or hide the sprite like this or like this, and I can change the size, maybe 150, and the direction which the sprite is pointing at. You must be like, what's the difference between this bar and the blocks? Well, the blocks initialize that this is what we want to do, and you can see a draft with the bar over here. You can check whether, do I want the size to be 100 or 150? Then you decide, okay, 100 is best. So with the blocks, you can initialize it. Set size to 100. We'll be looking at all of those blocks later, so don't worry. So that's it with today's video. I hope we covered everything that we wanted to. So In the next episode, we'll probably be looking at the looks category. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, keep scratching. Oh, and also subscribe to the channel. Bye!